Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. We are on episode 20. And yeah, life is good right now. I went pumpkin picking yesterday, which was so much fun. I took my little puppy, and the weather was gorgeous. I got absolutely caked in mud, don't get me wrong, and so did my dog. But we had so much fun and we got some pumpkins. Yeah, I feel like life has actually been really good at the moment. I love this time of year when all the trees start turning a beautiful like auburn color and all the reds start coming out, and little things like when I take my dog for a walk, I've noticed little mushrooms coming up in the ground, and like the nights are drawing in, so it's all about stews and getting cozy and having casseroles and soup and hot bread. Like, I absolutely love this sort of time of year. I really, really do. Summer is my favorite time of year, but autumn has got to be a close second, just because I like that it's still warm, but there's so much character to the world and there's so many things that change. I just love it so, so much. And that's kind of takes me on to what I want to talk about today in this podcast episode. So I've called it Why Halloween is Good for You, but I don't just want to necessarily talk about Halloween. Bonfire night, Thanksgiving, Diwali, Harvest, Day of the Dead, so many celebrations this time of year, and I absolutely love every single one of them. Halloween is probably my favorite. I really don't know why I love Halloween so much. I think it's because the weather starts to turn, it starts to get cold, and the summer is gone. And like I said, summer's my favorite time of year. And then it's like, but I've got Halloween to come, so it's fine. And then I've got bonfire night, and then this, and then that, and then it's Christmas. Like, there's always something to celebrate, and those little pockets of happiness kind of get me through the winter and get me through the cold weather, because I just love any excuse to, yeah, celebrate and to have fun. But I've definitely noticed as I've got older, and I don't know if it's because I've got older or whether it is just that the world is changing, but I people just don't seem to be bothered by these celebrations anymore. And they don't seem to see like the fun side of them unless they've got a child and they have to kind of play the part for them. And I find that really sad. I mean, I don't have any children and I get so excited about each of these times of year. And so I wanted to talk about why they're so important and why I think everyone should be taking the time to celebrate them together, regardless of where you are in your life, because they're so much fun. So that's kind of why I called this episode Why Halloween is Good for You. But it isn't just about Halloween, it's about all of these really fun, special little moments. Yeah, so without further ado, let's dive straight in. Hi, my name is Meg, and you are listening to the Wellness Musings with Meg podcast. I am a fully qualified beautician and yoga teacher who has studied and worked in health and wellness since 2017. I have been obsessed with wellness my entire life and have always wanted to share my passions more. If you love health, wellness, and yoga and want to learn more, this podcast is for you. I will be bringing you all things wellness, from diet and lifestyle to beauty tips and tricks, and of course, yoga as well. So grab yourself a green tea and find a tranquil spot, and let's jump in. So I absolutely love any excuse to have fun and to celebrate any of these traditions. Like, I'm not American, but I kind of have my own little version of Thanksgiving. I'm not from India, but I absolutely love Diwali. And obviously I'm not Spanish, but the Day of the Dead, again, I love all of these different little events. I think they're so much fun. I just, yeah. And since I've moved into my house, I felt like it's been a bit of a double-edged sword, because compared to all my friends and family, I've been the only one that really enjoys these little celebrations. So I always thought, oh, when I've got my own house, I can do that. But since I've actually moved into my house, I've got to say the money is not there to be able to. Like, I always thought I'd be the house that would have a Halloween party every year and things like that, but it's just not happened. And also, since I've moved into my house, I don't really want people to have a party in here, but that doesn't mean that I don't celebrate it in my own special way. I love to try and, like, I obviously, like I said, I don't really have much money, but things like I will use wool on my front door to create a spider's web. So I'll like get the wool and stick the edges around the edge of the door, and like underneath the door, and tie it either side. Um, and then I'll like tie the wool into a cobweb. I feel like that makes no sense, but I try and do as much as I can because I just find it so much fun. Last year I made little clay pumpkins, so I bought some clay online, and I made these, like they were actual pumpkin sized, but they were made out of clay, and again, like they're hollow, so you can stick a little candle in them. I just love doing these little things to celebrate it, because it to me they're just so important. Like, you only get one life, and why would you not celebrate them? Like, why would you not want to take that time to just be like in the moment and be mindful? Like Halloween for me, I absolutely love it. I'm really lucky. I live on a street where there's loads and loads of families around, and like I said, I decorate the house as best I can. Every year, I try and think of a sort of thrifty way to add a decoration, and I always do like the pumpkin thing. So I'll go and get pumpkins, but yeah, I definitely don't have like a really splashy house, but I love it. I have so many little kids come to my house and they're dressed in like little spiders costumes and ghosts and princesses, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so sweet, and it's so nice to see that they're kind of experiencing something different and they're having fun. I love bonfire night. Every year when I was younger, my dad would buy like these really awful like terrible fireworks, and he'd put them in the garden, and my dad's garden isn't very big, and these were like for small gardens, these fireworks. They were just like really pointless. But every year we would have like either hot dogs, or my stepmom used to make like she'd do sausages and like this red wine gravy and mashed potato, and then we'd all have like a hot chocolate and stand in the cold in my dad's garden, and he would then let off these fireworks, and I just had so many happy memories. We'd have little sparklers, and then often I would go to like an actual firework event as well. Last year, where we live, because I've moved away from my childhood village, so there's a place in England called Clacton, and they have a pier, and they light the fireworks off of the pier, so you basically stand on the beach. That I loved that last year. That was so much fun. Again, I made a hot chocolate, so I sat there on the beach with my hot chocolate, snuggled up with my other half, just watching these fireworks going off. And it's these little moments and these little things that make life worth living. And I also think that these celebrations, they bring people together, they bring families together. I'm sure every single person that's listening to this has some sort of tradition with their family or with their friends that they do over these times of year. It's the same with Christmas and New Year. They bring everyone together, they bring hope, they bring fun, and that's why I think it's so important to keep celebrating it and to just not let it go. Keep going, keep celebrating it. And also, why would you not want an excuse to act like a child for a day? Like, it's Halloween tomorrow, and I've got my pumpkins ready. I'm gonna carve them. Um, I've seen like people online have been doing like a competition in their families that all the kids do a pumpkin, and then they're like, which one's the best? And I find that so much fun. Like, it's just about having fun and having these moments and enjoying life together. And also, when we get to this time of year, the weather, let's be honest, in England, the weather is not great from round about now until March, maybe even April. Some winters go on forever. I swear, last winter just never ended. And that's why I love these little moments, because you don't have the vitamin D in your system. Like, we don't have the sun here making you feel good every single day. So these little moments and these celebrations and traditions are what kind of get you through this part of the year. And that's another reason why I love them so much, and why I always try and do something to celebrate them. Because even like this week, for example, it's Halloween tomorrow, and then it's Diwali on Friday, and then I think Day of the Dead is possibly Saturday. No, yeah, maybe. And then Bonfire Night is on Tuesday. I can't remember exactly if I've got those days right, but there's so many things all in one go. And then about a week later, it's Thanksgiving. Like, they all happen so quickly, so you get like a whole week of celebration. Why would you not want to do that? And it just, it's these little moments for me that just make my life so much happier. Some of my happiest memories are on bonfire night, on Halloween, when I'm sitting with my family. And I also use these opportunities to be mindful in each moment. So for example, when my little brother was tiny, one of my favorite Halloweens was he dressed up as, I don't know if any of you will have read this children's storybook, but the tiger who came to tea. He was so cute. He was like in this little tiger onesie. He'd only really just learnt to walk. And we went trick or treating for the first time with him, and he was in his absolute element. And so I can remember someone opened a door with a face mask on and like scared him, and he like screamed and ran down the steps giggling. And it's just these little moments. Oh, and he ran down the steps and then he ran and gave me a hug, and he was like laughing, but like, you know, when it's like a nervous laugh. And I just thought that is so sweet. And I remember that hug. And yeah, I mean, like little things like he's now too big for me to pick him up because he's a proper a proper boy now, and he's not a little toddler anymore. And yeah, it's these little moments, and I just try so hard to be mindful in each of them, because they are the thing, they make us human, like they make us enjoy life. Every firework that goes off, I try and remember them, like, and I try and think which one was my favorite of the night and what was my favorite colored one. And yeah, I just absolutely love it. And things like, and Halloween as well, I find Halloween very interesting because the whole concept, I think Day of the Dead is quite similar as well. The whole concept is to kind of get you to face your fears in a weird way. Like Halloween is about every single thing that makes you feel uneasy. So like spiders, cobwebs, you know, dressing up scarily. And I know it's to scare, I think it's to scare away death, but also I like the idea that it kind of gets you to face your fears, and also helps you to find comfort within death, because death is part of life. And I think that's important, that in a weird way that children learn that, but also as an adult you kind of get to grips with that as well, because death is part of life. You can't escape it, but we have these moments to kind of be at ease with it. And it's important to enjoy your life before you get there. And this is one thing that I was just thinking about as I was planning this episode. And I was like, actually, the whole concept behind Halloween is kind of to try and get you out of your comfort zone, and to get you to face those fears and put you in a place that's maybe out, like not an easy place to be, and to kind of challenge you a little bit. um yeah, which I think is quite an interesting, if you think about it that way, it's an interesting thing to have decided to become a tradition. um, yeah, and as a little side note, just to finish off, I want to talk about the benefits of pumpkins, because I love pumpkins. I love pumpkin pie. I try and make a pumpkin pie every year, although I haven't done for a couple of years. When I lived at my mum's, I used to make what I'd call like witch's brew pumpkin pie, and I used to chop up a whole pumpkin and then skin it and then put it in a pot, and I would put literally everything, every single spice pretty much I could find, and like cinnamon sticks and cloves, everything, like it would all go in, and then so much syrup. Honestly, it was ridiculous the amount of syrup I used to put in, and it would start off with the water because I needed the water to like soften the pumpkin. and to like boil it down. And then as the water boiled away, it just became like this really sticky, like pumpkin inside. And then I used to put that in pastry and cook it, and it was so, so delicious. And yeah, so I absolutely love pumpkin. And I think it's important as well because with food wastage, a lot of people are going to be carving pumpkins this year. We all do it. And actually, if you can save any of that pumpkin, even the seeds, it's going to be so beneficial to the planet, and at least put it on the compost bin if you've got one. But if not, trying to reuse that pumpkin is going to be so helpful. So things like, so this year with my pumpkins, I'm going to try and make some like little dog, like freeze some of it for my dog, because pumpkin's supposed to be really good for them and for their tummies. But also the seeds, I'm going to wash the seeds, and then we've just got an air fryer this year, so I'm going to try putting the seeds in an air fryer to make like crunchy, like spiced pumpkin seeds. I think you can do the same thing in an oven as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to go and buy another pumpkin to make my pumpkin pie just because I absolutely love it. But yeah, pumpkin is so, so good for you. It's really rich in vitamin A, which helps with your vision, your skin, and your immune system. And when I was researching pumpkin and why it's so good for you, 1 cup of cooked pumpkin provides more than 200% of your daily needs of vitamin A. That's insane. That's so much. So again, like, it's so good for your vision. And I don't know about anyone else as well, but I try and stock up on pumpkin this time of year, and I try and freeze some, and like I really try and use as much as I can, because I swear after this point it's really hard to get hold of pumpkins. Like, you don't walk around the supermarket in May and see pumpkins, which I know is a really stupid thing to say, you but you will get like mangoes, for example, all the way through the year, and bananas all the way through the year. And I find that really interesting that you can't get pumpkins all the way through the year. So I try and like stock up as much as possible. So I have some throughout the whole year. So I freeze as much as possible as well. Um, Pumpkin also is really high in fiber, which is good for your digestion. And it also has potassium and magnesium in it, which can lower your blood pressure and support your heart. Pumpkin has really high antioxidant content. So it's really good at protecting your cells from free radicals. And yeah, and it can help protect you from things like cancer. So again, that's another really good reason to eat pumpkin. And pumpkin seeds, they are high in protein and healthy fats. They've got loads of iron and zinc, and they will improve your mood, sleep as well. So they are so, so good for you. And yeah, that's basically why Halloween is good for you, because it's fun, because it brings people together, it makes you mindful in the moment. And if you're eating pumpkin, it's good for you as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Um, it's not what I would normally talk about, but I absolutely think it should be something that more people should talk about. And if you weren't planning on celebrating Halloween this year, go and do something. Even if you just buy a pumpkin, stuff it, and then eat that for your dinner. Like, or maybe you're going to do something a little bit more. But just enjoy these moments, because we only have one life, and these little pockets of happiness are what makes your life worth living. But yes, I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and it means so much to me that you guys have sat and listened to me ramble on about Halloween for like quarter of an hour. And yeah, have an amazing Halloween and bonfire night, Thanksgiving, Diwali, Harvest, Day of the Dead, whatever you're celebrating, wherever you are in the world. Have an amazing time, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thanks. Bye.